Good evening and welcome to the special edition of Cronkite News. I'm Shai Bradley. Tonight, Cronkite journalists take an in-depth look at a number of topics, from a long run to promote indigenous rights, to the changes in high school athletics that have left some schools out of competition, and finally how some 2,000-pound athletes train for competition. First up, participation in high school sports is declining. Danny Stepanovich looks at some of the reasons why kids aren't hitting the fields and courts of their local schools for organized sports.
I like being on camera. NBA, you're going to be on camera every single time you have a game. Every time. Sometimes I play on high school teams. It's a challenge, you know, but I'm ready to take it on. And I really noticed that I can play higher levels. It's because I've played against my brothers and my older cousins all my life, and my brothers are like 5 years older than me.
Look nice again today. He's always so dressed up. Good morning.
I tell the students, you have one chance at high school. Make the best of it. Do what you can. I try to give them the opportunity to explore things that they like, even if it's clubs or intramurals or whatever, to get involved and not just go to school, go home. I want them to buy in. I want them to have school spirit and be proud of who they are and be proud of wearing Tempe High.
The fentanyl came out, and my dealer said, you know, I've got these new pills, they're fake oxys. He didn't tell me they were fentanyl because no.
Tempe Union has 6 high schools. Some of our other schools that are much larger, they've always had 3 teams, and they're having a hard time filling 2 teams or maybe even 1. Kevin, here. Derek, Daniel, here. Adrian, Harris. We did have a JV program for the first 4 years I was here, and then the numbers kind of dropped off.
We've seen across, different levels, whether it be the smaller schools to the bigger schools, participation rates going down. This has been a problem over the last couple of years.
I think it's because it's not a priority growing up, and they're doing other sports or other activities, or they're not doing any at all. I think they're just exposed to so much.
I've seen a lot of trends where the number of players has decreased at the high school level. A girl got a separate waiver to play on a boys varsity soccer team just because the girls varsity team didn't have enough players to actually field a program this year.
Open enrollment, is it a blessing or a curse? That's a trick question.
It wasn't created for sports, it was created for academics and kids that can go to schools that offer different programs that they want to specialize in at the high school level.
The transfers have been unleashed, so a lot of programs are about to get even better than they have been so far.
But that's kind of the reason why we haven't seen the growth of a lot of other programs.
So please, especially that it's in the 90s later and throughout the next week or so and maybe even more, please hydrate. Say they want to go to AZ College Prep, or they want to go to Eastmark, or I'm mentioning some of the big schools in softball, or Hamilton. If they want to go there and play at a higher level, they will go there. Whereas if they're really experienced in club and they live within our area, it would be great if they came to Tempe because they live down the street.
I know in our school, they've been begging for a softball coach. Begging. We still have an opening for a softball coach. It pays a little bit of money, but we're exhausted. So if they don't get a softball coach, then there's no softball team.
So when they come to me at 15, 16 and they've never played, it's really hard to get them to the level to be able to play in games right away. So I think open enrollment can hurt schools like us that are a little bit smaller. It gives a lot of decisions and choices to people, and they're not going to choose Tempe, which makes me sad. But we do the best we can with who we have, and we love our kids, and we work hard, and we want them to be there and enjoy it.
If you have driven by Sunny Slope High School this weekend, you've probably noticed the long lines of tents out front.
We're now staying 2 nights to get into a public high school.
I think it's ridiculous that we live in a country where our education is so poor that I have to do this to get my son into a good school.
I pledge to do my best, to be a team player, to respect my coach, opponents, teammates, and officials.
Development of education in Arizona and youth sports participation rates, I think they do go hand in hand.
Justin and I have even gone as far as to have conversations of, okay, so you enjoy basketball, you've been playing it your whole life. Do you plan to play it in high school? Do you plan to play at the collegiate level? Because if you plan to play at the collegiate level, then where you go to high school is really going to be important when it comes to that.
I'm really thinking about playing high school ball over at Sunny Slope because that's where my brothers went, and they really have a good basketball program.
They beat Sunny Slope.
I'm really set on making varsity as a freshman, you know, because like I always shoot to be the best at whatever I do, whatever I can do.
Sports has played a big role for him. It's a stress reliever, I think, above all else.
Even when things are looking down for you, you always got sports, you know, like sports, they've really helped me get my mind off a lot of things.
Traditionally, he's struggled with anger management. Being in basketball and football for a really short period of time has helped him.
The last time I saw my dad was last summer. Before then, like 2 years.
Come on, Andreas! Oh, yeah!
My dad's actually incarcerated currently, but like what he always tells me is stay focused because he knows like that I have a passion for the game.
Andreas!
So I've always been very strategic on deciding what school I wanted to send my children to because not all schools provide the same level of education.
All of our schools in Arizona suffer from chronic defunding for over 20 years. Let's not be 49th in the nation in what we invest in our students. We have some of the lowest pay in the nation, some of the highest class sizes.
My older boys were attending a middle school, and that was their first real experience with like racial inequality. The most frustrating part of it to me was that it wasn't coming from their peers, it was coming from the administration. He made a comment to my older son at one point saying, I should be the male figure in your life because I'm sure you're being raised by a single mom. You're not going to graduate. You're probably going to end up in jail someday. It shouldn't matter where you live. A parent shouldn't have to question if their child is going to receive the same level of education and the same opportunities as any other demographic area.
The biggest surprise is we have won 8 games in a row. We have never done that. Tomorrow's huge, and that'll be our measuring stick. If we can hang with them and do some good things and know that we're competitive, then we know we have a shot. If we show up and we don't show up in softball-wise, then we know we blew that shot. Of course, we want to make playoffs and win in the playoffs, but we have to jump a few to get lower in the bracket before that can happen.
Welcome to Tempe High School for today's softball game between Vista Grand Spartans and your Lady Tempe Buffalo. Good luck, ladies.
If you're not funding these programs, then you're not going to have people that are willing to spend their time to keep those programs going. Then you don't have parents that are willing to put their kids in it. And if you don't have parents willing to put their kids in it, the kids don't participate and the programs go away.
First thing I'm gonna do when I make it to the NBA, buy my mom a house, buy my mom a car, make her quit her job. Things you have to do to get there is you have to train like you're playing against giants, really. Like, you have to train like everybody's better than you.
What you're gonna do is you're gonna come
Hey, hold on, watch this comeback, watch this comeback. Make this week at McDonald's after this. You just gotta hit those. You cool? Just slow it down. It's regulated.
Nice. Do not hit Danny and don't hit me. Ooh, get it. You okay?
It was a cool shot, don't worry. I'm gonna get out of here.
When we come back, running for a cause, indigenous youth lace up their sneakers to try to make a change.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
2, 1.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X at @CutASU.
Next up, photojournalist John Leos brings us the story of a group of Native American high school students who found a unique way to protest the construction of a copper mine. The mine is being built on land that is held sacred by the San Carlos Apache, and these students took to prayer to make their voices heard.
So we're in Superior, Arizona at the Apache Leap Mining Festival. And as you can see behind me, there's the Resolution Copper booth, but behind them, standing even taller, are what we set up, which are rock climbing walls and the Save Oak Flat banner.
Have you guys heard of Oak Flat at all?
Yes, we
the
just
issue.
drove by it.
Oh wow! Did you make your way in? Yeah, there was. Yeah.
So there was a court battle?
Yeah, it's still going on. It's an ongoing battle right now.
Congress considered the competing demands on a piece of property, balanced those interests, and made a decision. And it decided that Oak Flat shall be transferred to Resolution Copper so that the third largest copper ore deposit in the world can be mined.
Well, they mine it, and then it's gone, right?
Correct.
Okay.
The government would seek to turn Oak Flat, one of the most sacred sites to the Apache, into a crater, a copper mine, and a hole large enough to fit the Eiffel Tower.
I went to the first club meeting sophomore year, and then I got to meet everyone, and then I just kept showing up, and then I kept getting more invested each time I showed up with the whole Oak Flat situation.
It feels like kind of like a family in a sort of type of way. Like we got to know each other, and we got to share like our same cultures in our type of ways, but we're also from different tribes, so we have our own things.
I want to do my part, you know. It takes a lot of research and kind of learning. So learning about things and being knowledgeable on what you're fighting, I think it's really important for us here.
And one day, Mr. Davis was like, hey, guys, there's this place called Oak Flat. We could get involved, and we do a run.
Oak Flat Run, the Save Oak Flat. It's a decades-long tradition where San Carlos Apache go from their old San Carlos reservation, and they run about 60 miles right over here to Oak Flat. This is beyond this ridge. We are at the San Carlos Apache reservation next to the memorial, because this used to be a concentration camp for the Apaches. And we decided to start here.
But we're just waiting to get our blessings, and we're gonna start. We're gonna sleep inside today. Thank God, in the gym, because it's gonna be real cold. But yeah, I think everyone's excited.
The run is for Oak Flat. It's to like basically raise awareness, and then it's like help us spiritually connect to the land.
This is our friend.
That's Nolan
Yeah,
Pike.
her name.
She's like us, but like 10 times better, I think.
Yes, she was basically a youth leader, advocate as well.
These areas still retain their spiritual, cultural, and historical connection to the Apache people. I am here today to advocate for my land, my religion, and my home on behalf of the next generations and the generations yet to come.
She really helped us a lot and realize how important we are, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Confidence. It's key.
I want you to keep that in mind when we are walking and running, is that we're free. We're reclaiming that. We're back to what our ancestors once were. They're proud of us. They shed their blood for us to be here and to exist today. And so, you know, I'm excited. Walk over with me, cross with me.
I know Oak Flat is sacred land, like the St. Carlos Apache, and that's obviously where they have like their coming of age ceremonies. I actually had the opportunity to have a sunrise dance. I was super proud of my whole culture and my ceremony. I remember when I came home one day, I was like, hey Mom, we should like go take pictures. Like I want to see like my sunrise ceremony and like where it was and everything. But now it's like surrounded by an apartment complex and I will never be able to like go back and experience it. And I obviously can't bring like my future daughter and my kids there to like enjoy the same thing I had. So other girls are gonna have to suffer that with me too and like just see a huge crater, and that's just gonna be like a gaping hole in their heart too.
In my head, I was like, we should probably pick up the pace, you know? But then I'm like, what am I thinking right now? I'm kind of acting dumb. This is meant for prayer. You can take as much time as you need. And when you're running, you're running for the Creator and for Oak Flat. So.
Save Oak Flat! Save Oak Flat! Save Oak Flat! Save Oak.
I feel like when we go out places, we really try the best to put on our more mature, more really matters to us faces, because I feel like sometimes people don't care what kids have to say.
I've learned to love the pushback because I'm a very loud and argumentative person to begin with, and so I love telling older white people that they're wrong.
Protect Oak Flat! Protect Oak Flat!
Part of the push for copper is because of green energy, but you shouldn't be trying to get green energy by destroying the environment. There's really no point in mining all this copper just to destroy this land and claiming you're doing it for the environment. It's kind of like hypocritical. Recycling, it's not done enough now, but we're definitely capable of it as humans. Recycling old electronics, they can be reused again in other electronics.
I just feel like really connected to my ancestors right now and like my culture, and I don't know, I'm just kind of at peace like in nature, so I'm just really happy and like it's really serene here.
I've always thought about becoming a doctor for Ho-Chunk, my tribe.
Studying ecosystems is what I want to do. I see myself working for the National Park Service after college.
Science is a lot. That's a lot. I do want to go to law school though. That's my plan.
And I don't know what's yet to come, but I'm pretty excited.
Realistically, there's only two things that can happen. It's either gonna stop this place from being mined, or it's gonna allow it. with the court case, like allowing it to be mined, is it sets a precedent for future situations like this. But if the court case is like, hey, can't mine this isn't just a win for here. It's like a win for just like indigenous communities in America in general. And it sets a precedent saying like, hey, these places are sacred to these people for a reason. They are their church.
However you were raised, you might lean towards more development, more foreign companies, more growth. But really, it's not going to be any different than the last 400 years we've been doing it to Native peoples. And even the globe, they destroy the environment, they strip our resources, and they send it to the world. Not only do we need to protect the ecosystem here, but the spirituality. You can't really go on without having to surrender to something. So that's what you need to save Oak Flat for.
Anything to say to each other?
I love you. I love you too, man. Frame this.
We're supposed to connect with nature, not with technology.
You know, this
is like it's just like I remember there's a part like there's always.
Okay, there's 10 seconds left. What do you guys have to say?
Save Oak Flat.
After the break, their athletic performance may last less than a minute, but it takes years for these athletes to get into top shape.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
2, 1.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X @CutASU.
And finally, the Professional Bull Riders, or PBR, host over 200 competitions a year featuring hundreds of riders. The sport is hugely popular with a growing international audience. And while the human athletes can earn big bucks riding on the back of a bull, they aren't the only athletes in the competition. Kaylee Moncrief introduces us to the 2,000-pound athletes behind the gates of the PBR.
When you think of the bulls on the Professional Bull Riding Tour, you might think that they're mean and aggressive. But what you probably didn't know is that when they're not competing, they're gentle giants who are trained to buck in the arena. PBR contractor Cord McCoy raises some of the top competitive bulls on his Oklahoma ranch, including the two-time world champion riding solo.
I think he knows his job, but you know, the rest of the time, you know, the other 6 days of the week, you know, he's just laid back and you know, like a big old puppy dog. He's just a big pet.
Now let's go.
As a general rule, they're very calm when they're not competing. Just like any other athlete, when the lights are bright and their dander is up and they get excited, you know, they obviously perform their job.
These bulls are bred and trained to be top-notch competitors, but just like the riders, they have to qualify for a spot in the top level. The thing that sets the champions apart is their mindset.
And in the buck and bull business, it's the ones that like it and enjoy it and then continue to get better and like, man, if I jump real high and I twist here and I kick there, I can get that guy off the back and I can get the win. It's the bulls that love to do it are the ones that are successful and go on.
These animals become fierce competitors who sometimes intimidate the riders.
Oh, there's a lot of bulls that they really like to get on, and there's a handful that they don't like to get on.
And just like any athlete, their trainers go to great lengths to ensure that they're healthy and competition ready.
The bulls have their knee specialists. I mean, they have their health specialists, their nutritionists that come in there.
And their biggest support system are the people who raise them. And once the bulls are done competing, they get to enjoy retirement from the comfort of their own home.
And to retire those buck and bulls at the ranch and let them live out the rest of their life, it's pretty neat. I mean, they're part of our family.
In Phoenix, Kaylee Moncrief, Cronkite News.
That's it for tonight's special edition of Cronkite News. I'm Shai Bradley. Thank you for joining us. And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.